Hello football lovers. Astor's Cristiano Ronaldo just won the Nations League by beating Spain. That's right, the friendly tournament that everyone totally takes seriously and was definitely not created just to make money. Still, even if it's not as competitive as other tournaments, Ronaldo and Portugal show they might have what it takes to aim higher, like a proper World Cup run. And yes, we've heard this before is almost as overused as it's coming home, but the fact that this might be Ronaldo's last shot makes the hype feel a bit more real. Could this actually turn into a World Cup win? Could Ronaldo finally leave the one trophy that saluted him his whole career? Ronaldo made his debut for Portugal in 2003, and since then, he's won one major trophy in the Nations League. Back in 2004, Portugal hosted the Euros. Ronaldo was a starter, and everything seemed lined up for Portugal to finally win it at home, especially since their opponent in the final was the very underestimated Greece. But if you know anything about underdog stories, you already know what happened. Chris scored the stadium went dead silent, and ever since that day, Greece has been able to say they've won more European championships than Belgium and Croatia combined. In 2006, Ronaldo made his World Cup debut, his first goal. Back then, Portugal still had Luis Figo leading the charge, and they managed to knock out England in the quarterfinals on penalties, of course, to reach the semis. But then came France, and a controversial penalty on Terry Henry called that still debated to this day sent Portugal packing. Still, let's not ignore it. Portugal and Ronaldo had a solid tournament. The semi-final loss was tough, but this wasn't a tournament written for the John Cristiano. No, 2006 belonged to Zidane, who was on his farewell tour and making sure Marco Materazzi would never forget him. Fast forward 2010, Ronaldo scored again in the group stage, this time against North Korea, though let's be honest, everyone's scoring. That match, even the Bull Boys probably had chances. Unfortunately, that was the only match where Portugal found the net. In the round of 16, they faced eventual champion Spain and lost 1-0. Then came the 2014 World Cup in Brazil, when they didn't even make it past the group stage, after getting smashed 4-0 by Germany. And yes, that time Germany was the one that had the script writing powers. From 2010 onwards, it felt like Portugal's exits were cursed. They kept running into the eventual champions, so maybe it was one of the factors behind Ronaldo's early World Cup exits. But then, in 2016, everything changed. That Euro will forever be remembered for Ronaldo's tears in the final, taking off due to injury. But people often forget he was crucial earlier in the tournament, scoring key goals to get Portugal to that point. Sure, he only played a few minutes in the final, but his presence and sidelining coaching antics were still vital to the victory. By 2018, Portugal came into the World Cup with real expectations. They were the reigning Euro champions, and Ronaldo was still riding high fresh of multiple Ballon d'Or wins, and as expected he came out firing, scoring a hat-trick against Spain, including a last-minute free-kick screamer to tie the game, one of the most legendary moments in the World Cup history. He also scored Portugal's only goal in the next match against Morocco. But the Ronaldo dependence came at cost in the round of 16. Uruguay shut him down, and with no plan B, Portugal struggled to create danger. That's one of the unwritten rules of the World Cup, a rule that only rarely fails. If you want to win the World Cup, don't be boring Samoa. And of course, make sure your whole team can deliver even without your biggest star. By 2019, a new generation of players started to emerge, giving Portugal a more balanced squad. And with Ronaldo still performing at high level, they went on to win the UEFA Nations League. Another trophy added to his legacy. Ronaldo's golden generation was slowly fading, and by the time 2020 the World Cup came around, only he and Pepe were the last veterans standing. The rest of the squad was full of talented players, but they lacked the World Cup experience that Ronaldo brought to the table. In the group stage, Cristiano scores, making history as the only player to score in 5 different World Cups. Still, his role in Qatar was more subdued. In the round of 16, he didn't even start. Instead, Gonzalo Ramos stole the spotlight. That match sparked a wave of hot takes. Ronaldo had to step aside. The long-desired end Ronaldo dependence had finally arrived. Players like Ramos, Bruno Fernandes, and Rafael Leao were more than capable of carrying the attack. Portugal didn't need Ronaldo anymore until they did. In the quarterfinals, Portugal faced Morocco. After going down 1-0, They pushed hard for the equalizer, and then, in the 51st minute, Ronaldo came on. The clock ticked down, but the goal never came. Cristiano left the pitch in tears, and so did many fans who couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Then came Euro 2024. Ronaldo didn't score, and Portugal were once again knocked out, this time by France again, another heartbreak for his fans. The team wasn't playing badly. In fact, they were being praised for their structure, good possession, solid defensive shape, but their finishing let them down. It felt like Coach Roberto Martinez just needed a bit more time to get things running smoothly. And apparently, 1 year later, he did just that in the Nations League. Portugal faced Germany, went behind early, but came back. And guess who helped lead the comeback? Cristiano Ronaldo. Then came the finals against Spain. Ronaldo didn't disappoint. He scored the equalizer, and eventually Portugal lifted the trophy after winning on penalties. But what changed? Well, under Roberto Martinez, Portugal remained the organized team it had always been. But now with Cristiano nearing 40 years old, his role became more defined, more of a striker and an on-field leader than an all-around presence. At the same time, younger players once lacked experience were now stepping up. Nuno Mendes and especially Vitinha, whose real name I just learned is Torm Machado, were becoming key pieces in the lineup. The team now feels balanced. Cristiano still contributes goals, but the younger generation, the same one that was still maturing in Qatar, has now come of age. This version of Portugal finally feels like a real team again. So, could this finally be the moment Ronaldo wins Portugal's first World Cup after all these years? I believe this is the closest they've ever been. Not since that iconic generation of 2004 have we seen such a complete Portuguese squad filled with talent, guided by a veteran legend, and crucially without Christus to ruin the ending. The problem, as always, is that winning a World Cup requires more than just quality. It takes momentum, timing, and yes, a bit of luck. In the past, Portugal had solid squads, but kept running into future champions early in the tournament. And there's still the uncertainty of injuries. Cristiano may look fit now, but just like in 2016, one bad tackle in a key match can sideline him. The real question will be, can the team deliver without him? I'm not 100% convinced they can, at least not yet. Yes, they are clearly more mature than they were in 2022, and yes, the Nations League showed just how vital Ronaldo still is in clutch moments. But they are not the only contenders. Spain is resurging, and sure, Portugal beat them, but let's not forget Morata's generosity helped. Argentina remains strong. Brazil and Ancelotti might catch fire. Even the Netherlands could resurface as the heartbreakers they have historically. Then, stopping first-time finalists just to lose against themselves. What Portugal does have going for them is the fire still burning inside Ronaldo. This could be probably his last chance, and now both he and the team seem aligned in a new way. More cohesive, more competitive. If early in his career Ronaldo was too young to leave, now he's in the perfect phase to take on that role, and he's surrounded by a talented experience squad